All right, so of course we're going to stay with that case. For more reaction on today's proceedings, we're joined by Africa-Asia Dialogue's senior researcher, Thembisa Fakude. Good evening, Mr. Fakude. Thanks for your time. Judgment, of course, has been reserved. It's been interesting to hear the various arguments being made in terms of why, number one, Mkhwebane believes that the decision to suspend her was wrong, and of course all of the other arguments against that.
Well, yeah, what was interesting was to listen to the DA explaining the timings or the timelines in which the accusation by the PP or the investigation requesting when the PP requested the president to submit or answer those 31 questions, the timing that it took from the time that the Phala saga was exposed to when the PP asked the president to answer those questions. It's quite interesting and, of course, extremely suspicious, notwithstanding that before this information came to the fore, to the attention, to some of us at least, there was a feel that the president was irritated and, as a result, decided to act in the manner that he acted when he decided to suspend the PP. But now, I think today it was quite interesting in clarifying the processes on how it came about, and that to me became very interesting, and it kind of indicates that there are more people participating towards this than the PP herself.
Let me bring in Athi Mtongana, who's been watching this case for us. Athi, let's talk then about that evidence that was given, the timeline that detailed the processes that were followed ahead of Mkhwebane's suspension.
Well, you will know, Kathy, that Advocate Dali Mpofu has been arguing that the president's suspension of the public protector was premature and that he shouldn't have done it given the fact that the parliamentary hearings against her had not started at the time. He was saying to the three justices that even the letter that was written by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nosiviwe Maphisa Nqakula, informing him that they would then proceed with the parliamentary hearings is one that triggered the suspension by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Of course, you will know at this stage that Advocate Dali Mpofu also argued the issue of the Phala farm robbery, especially in light of those 31 questions that the public protector sent to the president, saying that it is at the back of that particular issue, that investigation in the office of the public protector, that the president moved to suspend her. Now, on the other hand, you have the Democratic Alliance, which filed a motion against Mkhwebane as far back as 2019, coming in today to say that that argument by Advocate Dali Mpofu has no merit given the time frame as to when she actually was made aware of the pending suspension by President Cyril Ramaphosa when he asked her of reasons why he shouldn't suspend her. It was after that Arthur Fraser made, of course, public the allegations that he leveled against the president regarding the Phala farm robbery and the cover-up. So I'd like us to actually listen to what the Democratic Alliance Advocate Budlander had to say.
I'm here for the DA. I'm not here for the president. The DA has been sharply critical of the president's conduct with relation to Phala and has called for parliamentary investigation. So I hold no brief for the president. But the DA's position is to say that the Phala issue, as serious as it is, cannot be allowed to obscure Advocate Mkhwebane's wrongdoing and the need for her to be suspended and the fact that her suspension was lawful. So I will ask you not to ask the question whether Phala matters or not. Of course it matters. But the fact that it matters doesn't mean that Advocate Mkhwebane was unlawfully suspended. The two things just don't follow. I'm not going to deal with the parliamentary proceedings any further because I think 21 judges is enough. And I think that my learned friend, Mr. Breitenbach, has dealt with that adequately. And so I'm now going to focus on the presidential suspension.
So, Athi, if we're to go back between this communication that took place, this is involving the president and the public protector, it seems that by as early as March, at least as has been argued in court today, Mr. Mkhwebane should well have been aware of the fact that there was an intention to suspend her, and of course it's argued that that was before the Phala Phala scandal became public knowledge.
In fact, the public protector had actually approached the Western Cape High Court in a bid to interdict the parliamentary hearings as well as the pending suspension. She was aware, that is the argument of the Democratic Alliance today, as well as the president, because the Democratic Alliance was agreeing with the legal counsel of the president with regards to conflict of interest, because Advocate Dalimpofu has been at pains to express before the three justices the issue of the Phala Phala farm robbery and the 6 investigations that were conducted during the time that the public protector was still in office as the public protector, saying that those 6 investigations are implicating the president and are offences that warrant impeachment against the president. And so that's why they involved the Phala Phala farm investigation out of those 6 investigations. And they also cited the CR17 campaign, which the president's legal counsel argued there that there's also no conflict of interest insofar as the president's role with regards to that particular investigation. And so what Advocate Dalimpofu was really trying to express to the 3 justices is that some of these investigations form part of the charges that are currently being dealt with in that hearing in Parliament.
Thembisa, let me bring you in here, because I think we're seeing in court the argument that, you know, the Phala Phala matter is intrinsically linked to the suspension of the public protector, but it's pointing to a broader issue, which is really the tension that has existed for some time now between the office of the public protector and the office of the president, and that in and of itself is an undesirable situation.
It's an undesirable situation. It's also getting very expensive for the public protector, because it clearly shows that there was some sort of planning between the time that Mr. Fraser broke those news about Phala Phala and the time that the PP decided to send those questions to the president. And ATM also seemed to be part of that planning, which is quite troubling. So you've got the former spy boss, the political party, and the public protector, to an extent, in coalition of trying to save the position of the PP, which for me is problematic, because the position of the PP is supposed to be independent, is supposed to serve the interests of the public. But if you're going to have these people in cahoots, particularly the political party in this case, in cahoots with the PP in trying to protect her and save the position, that becomes serious. But importantly, I mean, I think the South Africans have had enough of this. It's time to move on, and I think the PP needs to read between the lines that it's time up, and let her live in peace, and let us move on and get a new public protector that will continue doing the work that is desperately needed at the moment in South Africa.
That the motives may have been somewhat sinister or even nefarious, of course, doesn't take away from the seriousness of the case against the president, and he's been mostly quiet about what has happened in that farm robbery, and it does him no favors, really.
Well, we're told that he answered those 31 questions, I think, the day before yesterday. So we're just waiting to see what the answers are. Yes, I do agree with you. He's been quiet, and that's not just, it doesn't help him in terms of the public opinion simmering against him, as we've seen so far. But again, having said that, that's one separate issue. There's a current issue at the moment where you see politicians, former spies, and the public protector working together towards the preservation of the position of a public protector. One wonders, why is so much interest between political parties, former spies, to protect the position of public protector? Again, this introduces a new discussion within the public about the actual intentions of a public protector of insisting of staying within her position, notwithstanding that all signs indicate that it's time up for her.
Thembisa, Fakude, Athi Mtongana, let's leave it there for tonight.